let's go on to this, what people are calling the Friday Night Massacre at the DOJ. I know that you're not in the DOJ, but you are a very educated observer, and it's on it's top of mind for everybody. What the hell happened, Don? I mean, it seemed to me, just as a layperson, an interested layperson, that that Berman basically successfully cock-blocked Bill Barr. But you tell me what you think is happening here, what the dynamics are.
Well, it was definitely an interesting Friday night. Phone was blowing up. The computer was blowing up. And again, everything I say here, to be clear, is opinion, because I have no inside knowledge of any of this stuff. A couple of things I've heard is, in terms of the whole cockblock thing, is, initially, my understanding is that Barr said that Berman had resigned, and he had not resigned, right? And then Berman said he's not accepting that, and he made that very strong statement that everybody who's on the left side of things and who's anti-Trump felt was a great statement. Subsequently, Barr was able to say that Trump fired him. Now, I don't look at the rules and how this works, but I think that's enough. Berman's initial complaint was it wasn't done properly. He hadn't resigned. He wasn't stepping down. Once the president, who I think he serves at the president's pleasure, I would assume, fired him, then he was out. I think, again, from the little bit I've read in the time that I've had, I think one of the transition points is that, his deputy is going to stay in control until they can put the new guy in, which I think, some people said it gave him a little solace. Now, in terms of why he was removed, again, no inside knowledge, I don't know. The prevailing school of thought to many people, as you've seen online, is that he may have been getting too close to some people that others don't want him to get close to, and therefore the cord was pulled to stop him from moving forward. And that's at least that's what I hear is the prevailing thought. I would say that, a lot of things come up and there's always a lot of moving pieces, and you can never really know. One interesting article I saw this morning in the Wall Street Journal actually had a pretty cool play-by-play of the day, what happened between Berman and Barr in their communications. The nature of the criticism was going to be that de Blasio has a double standard in the way he was applying social distancing. The issue was that there's been an issue in New York, and again, I'm not that close to this, but I've seen it covered, that, certain religious groups in particular, like one in particular, Hasidic Jews, my father's Jewish, not Hasidic, but he grew up in a town of Brooklyn near a lot of Hasidic Jews, have been having their religious gatherings, notwithstanding COVID. And they wanted Berman to sign a letter saying that that was a double standard and not right. Berman didn't want to, this again, according to the Wall Street Journal, Berman didn't want to sign it because he felt it would cause friction between his office and the mayor's office. Now, all that being said, that's a new wrinkle that came out today. Now, and I have no idea what's true and what's not true. And I can say that even if all those events did happen, that does not mean that that wasn't a pretext and a setup to have another reason for letting him out, right? So, what I'm saying is, if in fact the powers that be wanted Berman out because he was closing in too tightly on people, and they're actually not trying to be totally brazen and trying to cover their tracks well, they might have known that he wouldn't sign a letter like that. I mean, I have no idea. I'm just saying, if he's not going to sign a letter like that because he doesn't have friction with de Blasio, it's the perfect thing to do the day before. And then you say, that's why we let him go, not for this bigger picture story.
Fortunately, I didn't have a chance to read that Wall Street Journal piece, but I will. And it's kind of in line with the pettiness and the ridiculous, pissing contest that is quintessential Trump, right? I mean, if I'm understanding you, you're saying that the Attorney General's office or him or Bill Barr himself wanted Berman to sign this letter about de Blasio. On what planet does Bill Barr give a shit about what de Blasio did or didn't do? I just, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll give you something that you might find entertaining. In the Wall Street Journal article, it actually says that the religion, whatever restrictions de Blasio has been trying to put in place or has put in place, I don't know, on the religious gatherings, really bothered Barr, who they referred to as a devout Christian. I'm just putting that out.
All right.
Now, one thing you say there too is make a good point is the trivial stuff is, whether or not he should be doing that, as and be getting involved in that granular of something. Then the next step becomes, is a refusal to sign that letter like really a legitimate basis to let somebody go from a petition like that, from a position like that, right?
Exactly.
Like that's to me that's the petty, and that's where you get into the other point I was making, again, just speculating whether or not it's really just, that's trying to set something up so the Wall Street Journal can write that article today. And then some people can maybe believe it's true, but more so the people on the other side, or whatever side you want to say, and the like propaganda machines that some of us know about can put that out as a narrative. It's setting something up to have a narrative. And that's better than at least like for example, like that, at least in terms of just strategic, is setting the table to have a narrative, as opposed to when there's the missile strike that took out the leader in Iran, and then the story became there was like 4 attacks planned, but nobody was ever told about the attacks, right? That's just listen, again, I don't have any inside knowledge or information on any of this stuff, but to me, from the outside looking in, layperson, my opinion, like that's just sloppy, right? Like they say, there's 4 attacks planned. What were the attacks about? I don't know. Did you tell anybody about it? No, I didn't tell anybody. Like you gotta do better than that, right? Sounds like this may be just a little bit better, but I don't know.
Just a hair. I mean, sloppiness is sort of the signature for these guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but I mean, it's probably on their calling card.